indicators point that we're going to have a crash soon, next 18 to 36 months, which is why we're all gathered together. I don't know where they went.
How far are we going?
You were supposed to keep an eye on them for me. So what we're doing is we're building our cash flow, and when the market dives again, we're able to pick up a lot of other properties and then be able to help a lot of people who lost their homes.
That sounds amazing. It sounds like preparing.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what responsible real estate investors do. Not, the people that are out there to grab the shark tanks and steal people's homes. I mean, that's just ridiculous.
When did you first start investing?
Technically, it started around 2010, about 8 years ago.
Bottom of the market. It was perfect timing, right?
No, it wasn't totally at the bottom of the market. The bottom of the market was right around 2008, but houses were crashing and dying, and what was kind of the problem was the banks kept getting in the way, and the government kept getting in the way and delaying the process. And then in California specifically, we had the State Board of Realty that got involved and said, hey, we don't want investors involved because they're messing up the whole process. And that's further from the truth. We were actually training real estate agents and brokers how to do short sales in a more responsible way, but they had the leverage and power to push regulations into place so that they had to be involved as a professional to be on a short sale, which was sad.
Any advice for the next 18 to 36 months?
Yeah, get educated on real estate investing and do it, because otherwise you're not going to be able to make it happen.
Perfect. Any questions I'm missing?
Do you think it should happen after the crash or before the crash to invest?
Depends on what your strategy is. If you're going for cash flow, I'd do it now, because now you can build up a cash flow reserve, and if you get educated in our tax system, then you are able to put the money away in a tax-free growth pattern, whatever that vehicle might be for you, and then be able to pull that money back out and use it, or at least leverage it in a way. Or like what we're doing is we're actually creating our own banks.
Okay.
And I know that sounds really strange and far-fetched, but the reality is, if you go and check out a book that a friend of mine wrote, What Would the Rockefellers Do?, you would actually see that that's what they did. They used life insurance products in a way to build their own family banks. And so that's why their wealth is now 6-7 generations long, and they're still not broke, but the Vanderbilts are. Yeah.
Thank you so much. I don't know what else to ask.
I know, it kind of blew your mind a little bit there.
Everybody just kind of been like,
I know, you're all like ridiculous. There's my card.
Thank you.
If you want to get more questions, don't give out, you can give out that number, but don't give out that one. That's my real phone number.
Okay.
Because I'm also a professional photographer. I do a lot of stuff on the side. Just what I like to do. I mean, if you've got money that you can live on, then what is your dream? What is it that you would want to do?
That's okay. Okay, I think I thought of a question.
Alright.
It's more of an example.
Okay.
The most common thing we talk about is you go buy a condo, right? And
That's
you
why.
Okay, you go buy a house.
Should I start with the HOAs causing a major problem? They're unregulated in the state of California, and they cause a major problem?
Okay, a house.
Alright.
So you can rent it out for $300 more than your monthly payment. So now that's $300 cash flow every single month since you put in a renter.
Technically not.
You break even?
Maybe.
Maybe.
$300 a month in cash flow being above your mortgage is not a great position to be in California. The reason for that is because what if you have a month of vacancy and your mortgage is $2,700?
Okay.
How many months does it take to make $2,700 with only $300 coming in as cash flow?
A lot. A lot of months.
Most of the year, right?
Probably
So
your
it's gonna
entire
take,
year.
Yeah, exactly. So one vacancy, you're wiped out of 9 months of cash flow. You're in trouble.
Okay.
So if you're going to cash flow in California, you got to do it at $1,000 per door, not at $300 per door.
That seems a little hard with the numbers that we have going on right now.
Yeah, that's because you're not buying them correctly. That's why you want to get educated.
Well, that's where we're going.
Piece of advice. Sorry, but you're not going to learn what these ladies need to know in order to survive the upcoming economy. We know this because as we've gathered all of our investors together in Southern California and we've had these meetings, we're finding that the students that are coming out of college are not smart enough to understand how to buy real estate. They're not smart enough to understand how to even balance their own checkbook, which is really sad. Most of them don't even know what a checkbook is. They just have, you know, these things, credit cards, you know? It's like, they don't even understand where the money comes from because they've never really had to touch it and play with it. So somebody in my generation, or these people behind us in their generation, they've had to deal with cash. They've had to deal with balances. They've had to deal with checkbooks. They've had to deal with P&L statements, profit and loss statements. You only study that in school as a theory, and then you never really use it again unless you get into accounting for a big business, and then you don't see the real books. When you don't see the real books, you have no idea what the real economic health of the company actually is. But you're not going to learn reality, and that's what you need to survive.
Most of us don't even know that we have to pay back our student loans someday.
Oh, yeah, dear God. But how about this? What if you knew of a way, this might actually get you to actually call me, what if you knew a way of taking your structured loan, like your student loan, or your car payment, or your house payment, which has a mortgage interest on it, it has a compounded interest rate, and you're able to pay that off in 1/3 the time, and build your credit, build the amount of credit you're able to get, and do it at, well, let's see, what is the best credit card you've heard of lately? Percentage-wise.
I just have Chase and Discover.
Which is scary, but they're tools if you know how to use them right. But what is the interest rates on them?
I never leave a balance, but I would say 14 to 23%.
Okay, so what if you were able to acquire credit at 0% for 12 to 36 months, and then use those cards to control how you're using your debt, or control that debt and pay it down faster? I'll give you an example. We have a student who's working with us. She's 26 years old. Her husband's 28. 2.5 years ago, they bought a $300,000 house.
Okay.
Okay. Now, in the last 2.5 years, they've been studying with us to become real estate investors, and they now own 6 stores, meaning 6 properties. You know, 6 doors paying them rent. One of them happens to be in the Philippines as an Airbnb. Call it short-term rental. They're advertising on multiple platforms. But that said cash coming in, they're able to utilize and leverage that cash to pay down their home. You tell me, wild guess, how fast that house is going to be paid off that they're living in.
10 years, my guess.
I'd go with 10.
10 years. That'd be an excellent guess when they first started. But when they started adding their doors in, and you leveraging the cash from the 6 doors that they have, their house is now going to be paid off in 2.5 years from today. So 5 years for a $300,000 loan.
2.5 years. Most jobs don't even pay $30,000 a year.
Trust me, between the two of them, they're not making that amount of money. I know, that blows your mind now. It's like, wait a minute, how do you make $30,000 a year and pay off a $300,000 house in less than 5 years?
Mathematically, it doesn't make sense.
No, you're thinking magically. Mathematically, it makes perfect sense if I showed you a spreadsheet and showed you where they were using their cash and how they were using it.
Well, I would love to find out someday.
Yeah, well, you've got my card now. You can contact me.
Thank
If
you.
you're willing to have us again.
Well, I live down in San Diego. I have no idea where I'm at. I'm supposed to be going to dinner with a bunch of real estate.
This has been in movies, supposedly.
Has it? I don't
I'm
watch
from LA.
TV. You want to know why I don't watch TV? Because I was able to spurt off everything that I just did to you because I stopped watching TV 3 years ago.
That's awesome.
Not even Netflix.
Nope. Well, all right.
Sometimes.
I had my binge watching on Star Trek for a little while.
That's okay.
It's all good.
Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome.
That was amazing. Thank you.
No problem.
Have fun with your interview, go to the meeting. I will definitely call you.
Hope you do. See you guys.
Bye.
Good night.
They're cash flowing that thing, I think, an extra $1,200 a month, and they're able to pay off a family house 4 years. Just on that cash flow.
It's crazy.
Oh, do you mind telling us what your very first property was? Your very first deal, your very first.
All right, econ
I
guy.
hope it's not like a 36 unit.
No. Close. All right, econ guy. So, my very first real estate transaction, successful real estate transaction, because I did many short sales. That's why I was upset about that earlier, because the California State Board of Realty got in the way of investors helping out people, and they just messed it up. They're all after their 3%, but we can make more money than that. We can make more money for the investors. We can get a better qualified people into the house. We can do long-term leases to get them in the house. Lots and lots can go on. But my first successful deal was inside my IRA. Retirement account?
Yeah, I heard that.
Okay.
I don't see how it would help me.
Okay, I'm gonna embarrass you. How much money do you think you need to do a real estate transaction?
I'm 21.
So the thing about it is, what if I were able to show you how to say, look, I've got a house over here. My corporation is going to come in here. We have the knowledge, but I'm going to take your IRA, his IRA, their IRA, and I'm going to pool the IRAs together. And I'm going to buy the property, and then I'm going to give you 10% or 10%, 12%, whatever you guys want to negotiate as a return on the investment. Now, who did I just help? 5 different IRAs to grow, right? I renovated a house, and I could put family in. I could do a lease option for a family that has poor credit, but have good jobs, and they want to. They've got good jobs, and they want to buy a house. So I can put them into a house and say, hey, look, put you on a 2-year lease option. You can go and buy the house from me. Basically, it's a little bit more than what the normal rents are at the moment. That covers all of my costs, helps me pay back the investors, but in 2 years, you exercise your option. It gives you 2 years to rebuild your credit. So during that entire time, as long as you're making payments to me correctly, all through contracts and everything, I will report back to the credit agencies what you've been doing. That will help you reestablish your credit. And if that's not enough, I can hook you up with the people that I work with to help you understand credit repair, credit management, and help you get on the fast track faster. In 6 months, your credit score will start moving a lot faster, and then you'll be able to be qualified to buy my house that you want to own, that you've been living in.
Okay. What if you already have an $800 credit score?
Great. That means I can show you how to get 0% interest on probably $40,000, $50,000 or more on credit, based off of income also. But yeah, I can show you how to do that for 0%.
0%. The interest rates, I know, did just raise up, and a lot of people in our class is freaking out. Oh no, it's not.
All right, class, pay attention. When you need money, you don't get access to it. When you have money and you don't need it, that's when money comes flying at you. That's the way the credit system works. So, if you have an 800 credit score, looking at your credit, that's great. Looking at your income, we're going to look at that. We're going to look at your longevity of your credit history. But we can give you 0% down credit cards, 0% interest credit cards for 12 to 18 months, maybe a little bit longer. So what could you do with that money? You could loan it back to an investor like me, and we can buy a house and we can flip it.